Hey, what's up guys? It's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in this video we're talking a little baseball IQ. I'm going to share with you 3 no-brainer situations where it makes sense for you to take a pitch, and then I'm going to share with you 4 situations where it's probably good to let a pitch go by. I wouldn't say they're no-brainer 100% absolute opportunities for you to take a pitch, but 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's probably a good idea to let a particular pitch go by. I've got 4 situations where that might make sense for you, okay? So before we jump into that, I'm a firm believer in you're stepping up to the plate, you've got a weapon in your hands, it's time to use it. You want to hit, right? You're not up there to take pitches, you're not up there to see pitches, you're not up there to walk, you're there to do damage. I'm a firm believer that you need to step in the box ready to hit. You need to be ready to go. And if it's a crushable pitch that's over the wide of the plate, you need to be ready to swing, even if it happens to be the very first pitch that you see. But that being said, there's a time and a place where you really want to take the first pitch. There's a couple times and places where it makes sense for you to probably let a pitch go by. That's what we're going to be discussing in today's Baseball IQ video. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's go over the no-brainers first. 3 times when it's absolutely necessary for you to take the first pitch. The first one is if the hitter in front of you swung at the first pitch and made an out, okay? Because you really want to avoid making 2 outs in 2 pitches. It just makes the other team, their job so much easier. It makes the pitcher's job so much easier. When he can get 2 outs in 2 pitches, he's going to keep his pitch count low. The defense is going to be, out on defense, and then, 30 seconds later, they're back in the dugout getting, all sorts of rested up and ready to go, right? It's a momentum killer when you make 2 outs in 2 consecutive pitches. So if the hitter in front of you swung at the first pitch and they made an out, it might make sense for you to, hey, I'm going to take a pitch. I'm going to work this at bat a little bit longer because we don't want to make 2 outs in 2 consecutive pitches. The next no-brainer time for you to take a pitch is if you're due up first after a long inning out on defense, okay? So after a long inning out on defense, your pitcher, he just threw a lot of pitches. So physically, he's gonna be pretty tired. And so are your teammates out there playing defense. They were just standing out there for, it could be 20 or 30 minutes, especially if there was a pitching change. They're out on defense for a long period of time. So they need to come in, they need a quick breather, they need to get some water, right? They need to get their legs up underneath them again, right? So it makes sense for you to, walk up to the plate and take a pitch and ideally work the at bat, put together a really good at bat and also get some momentum back in your dugout, because if the opposing team, they were just at the dish for 30 minutes, they probably scored some runs, they probably had some success, your pitcher was probably struggling to find the zone, right? The momentum has probably shifted to their side. We need to get some of that momentum back. So get in the dugout. Maybe it makes sense to take a pitch, put together a good at bat so we can get that momentum back in our dugout. All right, and then the third no-brainer situation where it makes sense to take a pitch is 2 quick outs from the hitters that came in front of you, okay? So if the first hitter up that inning, if he swung at the first pitch and got himself out, maybe hit a ground ball to short, got himself out, and then the second hitter comes up and he swings at, let's say, the second pitch and he gets himself out, man, you as the third hitter, you got to put together a good quality at bat. I think it makes sense for you to take a pitch there and, try your best to, work the at bat. Now you're going to have some times when that pitcher's he's dealing on the mound. There's nothing that you can do, right? If he's just pumping strike after strike, you might take the first pitch, but you can't just take 3 strikes and go sit down again, right? Eventually, you might take that first pitch, but then you got to battle. If he starts putting the ball over the plate, you got to put the ball in play, or you got to, at least foul it off and live to see another pitch. It's tough, but hitting's tough, baseball's tough. There's gonna be times when the hitters or the pitcher's absolutely dealing and you gotta deal with it, right? But I think if there's 2 quick outs that happen right in front of you, you really gotta, for your teammates, you really gotta put together a quality, productive at bat. All right, so those are the no-brainer times when it makes sense to take a pitch, but how about some of the other times where it might be a good idea? This is not absolute. These next 4 are not, you don't have to do this 100% of the time, but it's something to, baseball IQ, get your mind working a little bit. If one of these situations happens to you, it might be, time to think about, is this a good idea for me to maybe take a pitch, maybe see a pitch here, okay? So the first one is, if you swung at the first pitch your previous at bat and he got you out, just like we talked about, if the hitter in front of you swings at the first pitch, you don't want to be, the second hitter to swing at the first pitch and make 2 consecutive outs on 2 pitches. Well, same thing with your at bats, right? You don't want to be 0 for 2 and you've seen 2 pitches on the day. That's really not a good place to be, especially if, let's say this pitcher, he throws 4 different pitches and you swung at 2 fastballs, both at bats, got yourself out on fastballs, and you haven't even seen any of his other pitches. that's not looking good for your third at bat, okay? So again, you need to be aggressive at the plate. I have no problem swinging at the first pitch, especially if it's a crushable pitch and a pitch that you're looking for. I have no problem with that. But if you swung at the first pitch last at bat and you got yourself out, you know, it's something to be thinking about. Does it make sense for me to maybe take a pitch here? Another time when it might make sense is if the pitcher has no consistent first pitch pattern, okay? A lot of times, especially at the younger levels of baseball, pitchers really start to fall into habits and routines and patterns, right? So they might, you know, always lead hitters off with a fastball, or always, you know, go to a breaking ball when they have 2 strikes on a hitter or whatever. They're really bad about getting into patterns. But as you climb up the ranks and as you face more experienced and better pitchers, you know, if they're very, very good at mixing it up, then it might make sense for you to take a pitch. And really, I think this has to be an aggressive take. You got to be ready to go. But what I'm really getting at here is if he throws you a pitch that you're not ready for, you're not looking for, and you're not timed up for, and it fools you, then you shouldn't swing at the first pitch and be out over your front foot and, you know, hit a rollover ground ball at the shortstop and get yourself out. You should take that pitch and say, hey, man, this guy's good. This guy's good. He's keeping me off balance. He doesn't have any patterns, and tip your cap and live to see another pitch. So this is not one of those, you know, 100% you're taking all the way. This is more of a, I'm in the box ready to hit, but this guy's on his game today. And, you know, if he throws me a pitch that just absolutely fools me and it's a pitch I'm not looking for, maybe it makes sense for me to take that pitch. The last situation I want to leave you with is pitchers who are nibblers and they try to paint the corners, okay? In other words, these are pitchers typically that don't have the hardest velocity fastball, right? They're not very firm with their fastball. And a lot of the times, you know, they're more crafty and they're trying to, you know, paint the corners. A lot of times with their off-speed pitches, they're kind of afraid to go directly after hitters. And you got to be careful with these guys. This is another one of those where it's if you're going to take the pitch, it's an aggressive take. This is not a 100% you're taking all the way. But a lot of the times, these guys are very good at mixing up pitches, so they're not going to throw you the same pitch in the first pitch every single at bat, right? It's always going to be something a little bit different. And what these guys do, think about a crafty left-handed pitcher who doesn't have the hardest fastball, but he's really crafty and he can throw any of his pitches for strikes. What a lot of those guys try to do is they try to, you know, paint the corners and nibble on the corners and throw a ball that's just a little bit outside or a little bit inside or a little low or a little high, and they try to get you to chase and they try to get you to get yourself out. That's what we want to avoid, okay? So with these guys, you know, again, if you recognize the pitch early and you're seeing it well and it's a crushable pitch that's close, or if it's over the wide of the plate, then be aggressive and take a hack at it and do some damage, right? But you just got to be careful with these guys because they'll start to get you to chase a little bit and then go a little bit further outside and a little bit further outside, and all of a sudden you're chasing pitches way outside the strike zone and getting yourself out. We want to avoid that. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful for you. If it was, please hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Go ahead and smash it right now and subscribe to the channel. That way you never miss any of our upcoming videos. And last thing, hitters, I put together a free resource for you that's going to help you take your hitting to the next level. It's called the Contact Point Checklist, and it's 100% free. You can click on the link down below in the description and go download that right now. But what I've done is I've freeze framed the swing at the point of contact, and I've highlighted a few key areas that you need to focus on. You need to make sure you're doing these things at the point of contact. Otherwise, you're leaving bat speed and you're leaving power on the table. So go download that right now. I know it's going to help you. It's 100% free. Just click on the link down below. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.